So this is actually a really good question and a great opportunity for me to discuss training matrices, or layering different training methodologies on top of each other in order to cover for gaps that are in those training methods. Nowadays, most karate schools land on doing just one kind of sparring and one kind of sparring only. Typically, they'll either pick point fighting or knockdown fighting. There are a couple others floating out there, but those are the two main ones. Either point fighting like WKF, USKA, or JKA, or knockdown like Kyokushin, Enshin, Sabaki, things like that. The problem is, as with any training method, there are gaps in your experiences with any of those sparring methods. So you would want to layer different training methodologies on top of it. So you want to have multiple types of sparring in your training. So if you're going to do striking based like point fighting, great, that's going to teach you getting in and out over long distances very quickly, strike and get away without getting hit. That's very useful for self-defense where there's lots of attackers and you can't engage one for too long. But it's missing all the grappling components, all the close range fighting components, no groundwork, etc. Right? Okay, so let's say you slap grappling randori on top of that. Great, now you're practicing how to throw people, pin people, joint locks, strangles, etc. But there's no striking in that typically. So then you start to mix them together. Okay, well now you're getting into something more like MMA style sparring, which is great because it allows you to cover all different ranges of combat, but it doesn't specifically force you to develop skills that are basically inherent within karate, such as muchimidi, sticky hands. So then you start doing kakedameshi, which is a sticky hands sparring. That'll develop that tactile sensitivity, the ability to stick to your opponent, and it's close range, so it allows you to work all of your kata applications at close range. Of course, all of these are missing the key components for self-defense, so it doesn't look like self-defense, doesn't sound like self-defense, doesn't feel like self-defense. So then you start doing, let's say, bully sparring, where one person's job is just to keep on attacking you no matter what you do, put you under a lot of pressure, throw a ton of strikes at you, and try to get out of whatever you're doing. Well, that is great for training against a lot of forward pressure from an untrained opponent, but it doesn't cover all the de-escalation tactics, the escape focus, that sort of thing. So then you get into scenario training. You start with, role-playing different interactions, solo interactions and group interactions, and you focus on escape and evasion, or you focus on verbal de-escalation, or you focus on then, surprise attacks and weapons, things like that. So by layering like this, you get a more well-rounded training experience and better off.